Hey y'all, welcome to the T-Work podcast, hosted by Grant Banko and me, Adam Moreau. From entrepreneurs and athletes to the rat racers of corporate America and those who refuse to be put in a box, we want to share their stories and understand how they ended up where they are. Success and development come in many shapes and sizes. We want to hear about it all. So grab a drink and pull up a seat. Let's spill some tea and get to What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the T-Work podcast. Joining Banko and I today is a musical artist based out of Nashville, grinding, trying to get on the scene. It seems like, based on my brief YouTube and Apple Music dives, it is some hip hop vibes, definitely some melodic tunes in there. Seems to be very talented as far as I'm concerned. But we've got Suaz in the mix today. And before I say anything too stupid or, I don't know, mislabel him in any fashion, because he is an artist, I'm going to pass it over to him before he rips me a new one for saying anything too dumb. So, Swaz, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem, man. No, you pretty much got it right. I'm originally from Memphis, so I just moved out here December. So 22, made the move. Was living on my own for a minute there earlier on, but living with my dad at the end of that, came out here, and now we're paying bills. Now we're paying bills and doing this, and that's where it's at.
Out of
Is it
curiosity,
just that simple?
Yeah, we're paying bills and making music. That's wrapping it up. All right, podcast over, guys. Good podcast. Look,
yeah,
Damn, you stole my
exactly,
joke.
exactly.
I've ripped
no.
that off, I think, on our past four episodes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I'm the punchline. All right. It's me.
How much was it a wake up call when you started looking at rent prices over in Nashville area?
Actually, from Memphis to here, the place that I'm at currently is cheaper.
Really?
Yep. I don't know how. I guess maybe mm, someone was getting scammed. Couldn't have been me, but someone was getting scammed in Memphis, wasn't me, and moved here. And now the rent's 300 less. To be
Good for
fair,
you.
I don't have another bedroom, but I didn't need it. So,
I mean, I lived in 600 square feet when I was there, so I mean,
yeah.
I know that, but you probably pay significantly less than I did. So good for you, and I'm very surprised to hear that from the transfer from Memphis to Nashville.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll just put the number out there. It was 2K Memphis, 1,700 here.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You're
Good for
living in the
you.
wrong place when you were there, Banko.
Well, listen, I said that I was wearing earplugs to bed every night because Broadway was just loud as hell.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, wasn't I moved there without ever visiting and just and went there a weekend. Was
What?
it was walking it was walking distance from work, so I was like, I'll do it. And then didn't want to move after a year, so just renewed and did
So,
it again.
so, so your apartment, you rented it without seeing it?
No, I saw the building. I went there for a weekend, looked toward the building. My office was in downtown though, so I was 2 blocks from the office at my
Uh,
apartment.
okay.
So I didn't want to drive in Nashville because driving there is miserable.
Yep, it's bad. Actually, I can't drive. Right now, I can't drive in Nashville. My transmission went out about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So,
So are you Ubering to work every day or lifting? No free ads.
no,
Ride sharing?
thankfully, my girlfriend has a car. So technically, I'm still driving in Nashville, but I'm not driving my car in Nashville. But the bill's getting
Okay.
paid. The bill's getting paid. That's all we know.
Oh, all right. Well, I think I'm gonna ask my first musical question off of Swaz now saying he has a girlfriend. What is the home life after filming music videos with like eight different girls in a music video?
What are you talking about? That never happened, dude. What are you talking about?
Dude,
No,
your YouTube's lying to me then.
yeah, no, she wasn't too happy. She definitely didn't like want it to happen, I guess. But the thing is like I told her when we were talking, we've been dating for 2 years now. I told her, I'm like, look, there will be times because at the time I thought it was like needed, like some, but in my early growing stages, I thought it was like a needed thing because I grew up watching like this whole flex era, like when clout was coming, like I'm 22, so that was like a big thing on the internet. And I was like watching these artists. I'm like, you got to look big, you got to do all this. Like, none of that shit's real. Um, And then I told her that I'm like, I'm gonna have to live like this weird fucking music video life, and there will be women. Just so, but I'm not doing nothing with them. Although the video may look like that, I'm not doing nothing with them. I promise. And I didn't. I did not. But yeah, it was definitely not her favorite time. Yeah.
How long did it take you to realize that the flexing wasn't needed?
That video that he's referencing. Yeah.
Was
There,
it
there's a Cybertruck in there, a Ferrari.
Yeah. I don't regret the cars. That was great. That was great. I would do that again. But everything else, everything else that can no, don't need that shit. Don't need it.
Well, let's
so the whole
let's chat about this a little bit. I want to talk about the growth of the flex
Yeah.
into kind of who you've become now. I know you have the Stevenson Ranch hat on. We know that
Mhm.
you have worked with Ollie Joseph, friend of the program here. So just like kind of judging based on what we know of Ollie and then like the music that Mike is making these days, it seems like it is much more like level-headed, kind of about experience. So I'd love to know about your own transition and growth.
Yeah, so my music isn't there yet. Like I do have experiences I could talk about, but at the moment, I'm still growing in the phase where I haven't experienced that like artist phase yet. Ollie's catching his wave now, so he's riding that train. But for me, I'm just making what I want kind of when I want, and then the whole growth part comes in the back end of it, right? So I can write about bullshit all day. 99% of the music you'll hear on the internet's cap anyway, but it makes me feel good. Like it sounds good. Um, so I'll write about something, but I don't need to portray it in a video or none of that. Honestly, music videos don't even work anymore. So it was just coming from that video and the amount of money that was spent on that video, and then the conversations I had with the feature on that song, Ferris, great guy. Um, it was just it came to me that it was pointless. And like while I was on that trip, the guy who rented me the cars and Ferris, I had another song like tucked away that was more me. Like Malibu was like this big summer sound, like could be like summer hit vibe. So I treated it that way. But I had this other song that actually ended up performing better that was just like tucked away at the time. And then that display of like, okay, so just being yourself and not having to put on this whole image actually translates better. Um, and that's just kind of what I've stuck to now. It's like I can still say some shit that's not real, but I'm not gonna go make it real.
how early you mentioned you're kind of early in the stages compared to Ollie or Mike, and you're 22. I know Ollie's 31. Mike's a bit older than that. How long you been making music, putting out music? When did that journey officially start for you?
Yeah, so it started about I was 17, so about 5 years ago. One of my buddies at the time had like a producer said he was a producer, and we made like this weird like group, I guess. Like boy band, but rapper, like rap group, but it wasn't a rap group. It was weird. And they ended up just using me for writing pretty much because my voice at the time, I got more bass in me now. That's the best way to say it. Back then, I sound like a dweeb, and their singing voices were deeper, so they ended up singing. And then all of them quit except one guy and me, and I just kept going. So since then, I kept going. There was about a year and a half in that where, um, or up to where I became an artist, where I was just a producer and an engineer. So I was recording other people or trying to make beats. That didn't work. And then there was like a year, about 2 years after I became an artist, there was a year that I couldn't make music because of a car accident I was in. I ended up having like nerve damage in my throat and everything. So I ended up having to work through that. I came out the other side with some rasp, which is sick. But yeah. So technically, if you want to piece it all together, I've been an artist for like 3 years total, which is weird because it feels like way longer than that.
So basically, you were the Harry Styles of One Direction for your group when you were 17, and you're the only one that's left.
Kinda, kinda, yeah. You could say that. None of them really took it serious. It was just fun, and then I was having so much fun with it that I kept doing it.
Were you writing when you were younger as well? Like, did you have this image of or this vision like, oh, being a rapper would be sick or like being a musical artist would be awesome? Or was it really just your friends were doing it and you thought it would be fun to join?
Well, I never really saw the creation process of music, but I was in choir from like a really young age. I ended up singing, I think it was the governor of Mississippi in like middle school or something. It was in a boarding school and they had us out. And then my uncle, or not my uncle, my great uncle, I guess, started the Blues Foundation. Um, so I'm really tied in Memphis, like old blues, and they owned BB King, or not BB King, sorry, Blues Alley in Memphis, which is like right around the corner from BB King's, and it's like used to be a soul for blues. So I kind of grew up around the music and always was singing, but writing and everything, no. There was like a radio contest for like iHeartRadio back in probably like 2012. I probably wrote some weird shit too, but never like took seriously. No.
When you initially were writing when you were 17 and you weren't doing the singing yet, did any of those songs take off as like you being the ghostwriter and someone else got kind of credit for it, or was it more just part of that fun kind of group and nothing really took off there?
The second option, yeah, nothing really ever took off. It was just fun messing around in high school.
And I wanna go back to the blues connection if everybody's cool with that. So do you did you find that inspiring? Like, were there other artists that you really look to that wouldn't be like your conventional? Like we already talked about Mike and Ollie. Like those guys seem a little bit more comparable, maybe stylistic wise, based on the very brief set of your collection that I have heard thus far.
Mhm.
But like, do you like the more raspy, soulful blues? Like, are you still mixing that in on your own?
No, because earlier on, someone tried to force me to do it. I'm not going to drop
Mm,
names, but there was a bigger producer that tried to get me to do that. Number one, it hurts because I'm not properly trained to do all that, not at all. So it hurt my vocal cords. But two, it's just like whenever you're told to do something, it just kind of makes you not want to do it. And I grew up hearing it nonstop. I love it. I appreciate it. But me and doing it, no, it's not like I go in my car and I go listen to David Porter. I'm just great, but not no. The first artist I ever like rap artist I ever heard was Young Thug. So yeah.
fair.
Did you try did the producer that wanted you to go that route, was this pre or post the car accident where you got a little rasp in your voice?
This was post, so I was ripping it. I was ripping it. Yeah, it
Okay.
sounded
So
good. My dad liked it, which is weird, but yeah.
How much do you think your abilities have even changed since the car accident? Whether it's like kind of this silver lining in a way because it gave you the rasp. I know you mentioned that earlier. Banko mentioned it there. It sounds like that does give you your own kind of like artistic flair. But did it force you to grow as an artist in general?
Yeah, because I wasn't mobile for like I broke all my ear bones inwards and I had paralyzed like a part of my face and had a bunch of stuff going on with nerve damage in my legs. So I couldn't walk real well and I couldn't see, scratch retina. So I sat in that chair for like a year, nothing to do, and just tried to sing through that. Because they said it's like, yeah, you're fine, just keep going. Like you're not gonna die or you're not gonna not be able to talk. It's just like you got nerve damage. Like there's something wrong. And I was too young to really give a shit what they were saying. But I just kept going and that's all I had to do. So through that whole process, I probably put in more hours than most people do in like a good 5 years in that 1 year because just wake up, record for endless hours, and go to bed.
how do you think you got there mentally? Because I feel like a lot of people in that same situation, like not seeing improvement, not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Of, oh, they're just telling me it's going to be a year and it'll be fine. I'll get better. But like the day to day's got to be challenging. Of like I'm doing the same thing every day. It's not making progress. I'm not getting better. How did you deal with that?
Well, the thing is no one ever told me I was ass. Like no one ever told me I was ass. There was one guy I remember very particular. There was one guy actually. He said, "This ain't music. This shit's ass." Okay, that was before the wreck, and that was before I really loved it. I was just kind of doing it. But that year process of just waking up, getting the routine, and the people I met during that year, and working with them and growing, that's what made me fall in love with it. So that is really what turned me into the artist. It wasn't I was before. It was that kind of turned the leaf for me, I guess would be the thing. Because when you're sitting there and ain't got nothing to do, video games get boring after a while. So
Yeah,
So do you? You go ahead, Banko.
well,
My
I
bad.
was gonna relate it back to. I mean, you hear all the time people say, "Follow your passion, do what you love," and what they don't tell you is most people that are telling you that, yes, they are currently following their passion, they are doing what they love, but there was that beginning period, just like you said, that initially it wasn't technically your passion, but that year of just doing it day in day out, you learned about it and you learned that you actually do love it. But there was a time that you didn't love it and didn't realize that that was your passion. Is my understanding. Is that a good way to put it?
yeah, yeah, that's fair. I guess the passion is for me is the process of creating the record and then that spark after it's done, right? So everything else out the window, but that whole process is what I fell in love with. And now it's a sense of comfort because it reminds me of that year every time where I'm just sitting in this chair doing the same thing. It's a sense of comfort and home because that was very I guess meditative for me during that time.
My word was going to be therapeutic, so I suppose meditative is the kind of perfect synonym there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it enabled you to express or free yourself or free your mind from the one specific spot you were probably always stuck in. I'd imagine, but
Yeah.
yeah. So moving this on, where I was going to go right before you asked that one, Banco, is actually a question that I think we've asked another couple of artists that we've had on here. Originally to a painter, so don't think we're just regurgitating stuff on here. But do you think you can train to be an artist, or do you think it's always within you, or just like somewhere on that spectrum?
Train to be I don't so I guess what's your definition of artist?
Yeah, so I mean, even that's I'd almost rather you even just take that away
Okay.
and tell
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
yeah, tell me I'm dumb or explain it however you want to explain it because that to me is I always find that I always find the personal journey very interesting, right?
Hmm.
With Banko and I as athletes in past lives, basically. We were college baseball players. And did we have some like base level of talent? Probably, which set us apart from the grand majority of baseball players in the world. But we also worked incredibly hard at it to become better at what we cared about most.
Hmm.
So like that's generally how I explain it. Like I assume you've always had this sort of like some it sounds like even when you were younger you had a natural gift for music and then you figured out how to pair it with your own passion or pair it with the lane that you really wanted to go down.
Yeah. So I guess if you're going off the terminology or if you're going off artists being like the image of the singer, then no, you can't train that. You can kind of fake it, but you can't really train it. Like you're gonna be you at the end of the day. That's why most of these one hit wonders don't end up going nowhere. It's because you can get it. You can get a hit. You can sing a song, but that's not what makes you an artist. It's like how you paint your entire canvas. It's got to be you throughout the whole thing. and people got to like you, not just your records. So I mean, yeah, that's why you're never gonna see me like dropping albums or trying to blow up on TikTok because I'm not trying to be that. It's no, it's you got to build it up slowly, paint your canvas slow. It's gonna end up like shit, and then you're a shitty artist if an artist at all. You're just a singer. So
Digging a bit more into your approach, how are you going about, like, are you doing singles released? So like Ollie was doing twice a month, he releases a song. What is your process? Do you only post to Spotify, Apple Music, etc., YouTube? What does that approach look like for you?
yeah, so I had to slow down and honestly, hold on. I had to slow down, not had to slow down, but I'm forced to be a little bit slower because producers, at least at the caliber of the music that I want to make, they deserve their money for their beats, and that's a hard job to do when you're doing other things as well, So Ollie, great, yeah, you can afford that. He's got to do Jimmy Hooks. Shout out Jimmy Hooks. It's great for him. Love it, but I don't got the beats for it, and I don't got the money for it. But yeah, just whenever whenever I got a song, I know it's there. That's why you're gonna find it's like, oh, he doesn't miss. It's like, well, that's because I don't pay for the ones I think I missed on. So I end up putting out songs just whenever I get them and whenever my schedule aligns at the moment. Mentally, just got to be able to get in front of a camera sometimes and promote that music. That's the hardest part for me. So just singles, pumping them out. Album would be me wasting music. So
And I guess being naive on the music side of things, if you don't release, so let's say you record a song with a beat, someone gives you a beat, do you have to pay them right away to record it, or is it until you release it, then there's the payment? Like, what does that back end process look like?
no, if a producer works like that, like for me to even record on their beat, I gotta pay them. I ain't ever seeing their face again. Ever. They will never be anywhere near me. Not a follow on Instagram. I don't care. I'm not gonna pay someone to send me a pack. I'm gonna pay you if we're releasing it, right? Because that means I'm using the beat. But there literally I had a call with the producer 2 days ago. Haven't ever heard his stuff at all. He has some credits, but he wanted me to pay him for a pack before I heard anything. I was like, dude, just throw tags on it and send it to me. I can't drop it if it's got 9 tags throughout the thing. I can hear it. And he was like, show me links. I'm like, I don't care about your links. This is about me, not 2C. So
Hmm. And didn't you, I think you mentioned it, you experimented a bit as a producer yourself, correct?
yeah,
Isn't that what you said?
yeah.
So what kind of took you out of that specific path?
Um, I had sent out a couple beats and just while making the beats, I would come up with melodies because I was already, like I said, I was already kind of writing before that, and I had come up with melodies to the beats. I'm like, oh, I got to put this down, and then, like I said, no one ever told me I was ass, so I thought it was the best thing in the world, and I just kind of went with it. And then the beats that I did send out, I would have something that I thought was better than the person who received it. And like, I'm gonna do it myself, and that's kind of what brought it here.
Mm. So are you still making your own beats to this day at all, or is that just too much in the whole process for you?
Oh no, God, no! I never said the beats were good. Yeah.
But no one said they were ass either.
No
So
one ever said they were ass, but I never said they were good. Hold on a minute.
I
Yeah, they were not good. They are not. Let's never find any of those beats, please. Never.
got a chat GPT it now.
Yeah, we got to search deep. What is your isn't your SoundCloud? I think I was trying to search. Is your SoundCloud still Beats in the title? Swaz Beats?
I don't know. I watched my SoundCloud a long time ago. I probably need to delete it. Yeah.
Mm.
Hold on. Let me do that real quick before you go on. Before this
Pull it up right
podcast
now,
comes
sir.
out, I will not have a SoundCloud.
um, I'm curious, what was the motivation to move to Nashville?
So I had been coming out here very frequently since like August of last year. I came out here with my buddy Grant for the first time to shoot his music video, and Grant Keller, fire artist, check him out. I came out here with him, and he had met up with a writer he was working with, and her friend Colin Wilkerson. And those next times that I'd come out here, Colin kind of just showed me like what Nashville was and what it could be, and all the connections that he had was just kind of like, holy shit, like Nashville is that. And being from Memphis, I'm used to being like this one melodic mainstream guy that every every rap artist just wants on their hooks, and that's it. And the labels don't know what to do with you. The artists that are bigger aren't even looking at you because they want hood shit. So I come out here and it's like, oh, it's just me everywhere but country. And then that's kind of where it landed. I was like, yeah, I got to make a move. Memphis has nothing for me. The opportunity here is so much more. So I made the jump.
And
No, that makes
speaking
sense.
on those opportunities, I know you're having to grind outside of the music as well.
Yeah.
So I'd love if you could kind of talk about just the constant struggle of trying to feed your passion, right? I know that's what this comes down to. I went through it on my own entrepreneurial journey of I'd work all day, I'd research all day to make no money to go out and do like hitting lessons or workout groups with youth in the community just so I could continue to put food on the table to ultimately pursue what I really cared about and what I thought could change the world. And I
Mhm.
know everybody has their own journey within that. And I just love if you could tap into yours for a minute.
Yeah, so yeah, the lights got to stay on. I moved out here, although the rent might be a little cheaper, everything else isn't. Uh, Down to the food. Like I can't milk, I swear, has got to be like $20 higher over here. I don't know what's going on, but some with my grocery list ain't adding up. So I got a job through Colin actually. I met uh the current manager that I have at the current bar that I work at. I worked there. I was ended up picking a position on accident because I got there on the last day of their open hiring event. I picked a position on accident that is only on the weekends. That has so far been a great decision because if I wasn't, I'd be working from like 7 p.m. to close every day, and there would not be a second for music. So I bounced out of that weekend. It's still a little hard to come off of that schedule and not see the sunlight at all, and try to come in here and be expressive and creative about the weekend I didn't live because I was working it. But lights got to stay on until they could stay on permanently. I got to keep doing that.
Well, you are getting longer days now. The sun's gonna with the time change and now longer days. The sun instead of going down at 4 in the afternoon, it'll be a little later. So maybe you get a little bit out of it.
Yeah, but here's the problem, right? If I'm going to work at 7 p.m. and I got to stay there till 4 a.m., I'm not going to wake up until 5, 6 p.m. just so I can have that full shift of me cranking it. So then my week schedule ends up all backwards. Obviously, right now I'm actually waking up at a decent time, but I'm going to pay for it.
How do you tackle that sleep schedule?
I'm 22. I don't have to yet. I'll let you know in 10 years.
Well, I mean, have you always been a good sleeper? Because like even me at 22, like if I would take a nap in the middle of the day, 30 minutes and I'm up and and it like didn't matter. It was only nighttime that I could sleep. But like, have you ever had that issue, or you've just been?
I mean, I wake up in the morning and I'm like rolling out of bed already. Like I get up real quick. It makes my girlfriend mad at me. Like she'd be like, "Oh, you're up." I'm like, "Yeah, this is the 900th time you've said that now." Um, but yeah, if I'm up, I'm up. I'm not gonna sit there and go back to bed. I'm getting up. So no, it's never been a problem. Like I said, age is my best friend right now. I got to use it while I can. So
When in the mix with everything you're juggling, do you work on your music? Do you have a set schedule each day or each week that it's like, nah, this is music time, nothing else matters?
No, I don't ever force myself to do it because it's gonna suck. It's gonna be terrible. I've tried many times, like, oh, like if there's a deadline, I'm not making it, or I'll make it and it'll be terrible. I gotta let it come to me when it comes to me, and it's daily. I'll have it daily. I'll be walking around and I'll just be like, oh, that's a hook. Like I'll just have something in my head, um, and I could lay it down, but if like the work comes and I still got some energy and I'm like, I'm gonna record right now. That's what I want to do. I'll record. If not, I'm going to bed. And that's just how it is.
How often does that creativity come when you're on the job down at the bar that you're working, and
Yeah,
you got to
I have
make sure?
I have two videos in my phone where I was in like the back room and I caught like some melodies and I was singing them. And then the second one someone walked in. I played it off great. I played it off phenomenally. But I'm just sitting there singing to my phone, like sitting on this ice cooler back there. And then she said something. I forgot exactly what it was, but you can hear it in the video. So it happens.
But that's kind of like the classic Nashville stardom story. Is oh yeah, we had this bar back or we had this booker just sitting in the corner of the room singing to his phone. I could see that on Disney Channel one day.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty it is pretty classic here, yeah.
How I'm curious, how often do you get the eye roll or sarcastic "good for you" when someone says, "Hey, what do you do? Like, what are you trying to do out in Nashville?" And you're like, I'm a singer, I'm an artist," because you hear it more often than not, especially out there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, not I don't I haven't gotten that yet. I make myself if I'm shaking your hand, you're shaking my hand is not like I'm not like, hey, I'm singer artist Nashville Suaz, you know?
Yeah,
I don't do that. I mean, I meet people first and then that'll come later. Honestly, I don't see the point in walking around with, just waving it out like, hey guys, look at me, I work in your bar, it's not going to
yeah.
do anything. Now, if I know that I'm shaking a hand that I need to shake, I'm Swaz. Yeah, I'm Swaz. But all they meet is artists anyway, so that doesn't matter.
And actually, when you do introduce yourself, majority of the time, is it your government name or is it Swaz?
I recently I've been dropping both. It's been a weird learning process for me. Everyone that I've known forever is now calling me Swaz. So it's hard for like sometimes I forget my government name, I think. But I'll walk up and be like Ethan Swaz, whatever. It just depends on who you are. If you don't need to know, you
And
don't need to know.
I was hesitant to even say it, but since you did say it, do you feel you are a different person when you are Swaz? Like, do you channel a different mindset or anything like that as Swaz, or is it literally just like, yeah, this is just the name?
Uh, part of that's there's a certain confidence you gotta kind of have in certain situations as an artist. Like you can't walk up to someone like a dweeb that has, $14 million. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck? Like, what is that? Why is he sweating?" So I gotta kind of and I got like the most anxiety humanly possible. And I feel like in certain rooms in certain situations, if I'm Swaz, it'll kind of help me. Like I'm standing off in a corner, not because I'm being weird, but because I don't want to talk to you guys. That's just very simple. I just stand in the back, mind my business.
I would say you don't have that bad of anxiety for being a singer and actually releasing the music. That's a pretty big hurdle for a lot of people with anxiety to get over.
Yeah.
What helped you initially with dealing with that to like the first time you ever hit submit or upload or whatever? Like what was that experience like and how did you deal with it?
So, so my anxiety isn't social anxiety at all. I've kind of always been a introverted extrovert. Since I was little, I was doing stupid shit. Like I had a YouTube channel, and on that channel, I was like taking my shirt off, swinging around on a crystal sign, like screaming crack cocaine for no reason, going in Walmart, doing pranks and stuff. I've never had that issue. My issue is like my anxiety is like bodily. It's weird. People out there with anxiety will know exactly what I'm talking about. But I got like the manual breathing, and I got this thing where my sinus in my face isn't right. Um, and it'll like I also am half deaf in this ear, but it messes with my airflow sometimes, and it just makes everything weird. Like certain foods that I eat will tweak me out. I just here comes a panic attack. I got it down now. I haven't had a panic attack in a real long time, but yeah, no social anxiety here.
And I do want to spend some more time on maybe the other side or a different look at that same question of the first time you submitted. So now forgetting about the anxiety in the process,
Yeah.
w- were you super like high on that first thing you put out? Or was it just kind of like, oh, I have something, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to have something, I'm going to put it out there. Because now it sounds like you care so much more about the quality
Hmm.
versus I'm sure when you were 17 and you talked about this kind of like cloud era and you were doing stuff with your friends, my guess is it was just kind of like, yeah, we got something. Let's send it. Why not?
Yeah, pretty much that's kind of how it was. And then along the way, um, I just started obviously getting better and finding my ear and seeing what sounds good. And something flicked. I couldn't tell you what it was, but something switched in my head where it's like I can't drop anything until it sounds how I want it to. And I think that was in that year stage where that happened. I think that was kind of the switch where I was just sitting there and I knew what I was making could sound better. And even then, compared to now, I think that shit was terrible. But for some of my close friends, or they still bring up songs, and I'm like, dude, why you got to bring that song up? So I that's kind of the the big thing about art, I guess, is whether perfect or not. If it's done, it's done.
How often does that happen where you're putting out something, you're like, oh, this is really good. People are gonna love this, compared to you put out something, you're like, oh, I'm not that sure about it, but it's still good, but it might not be my best, but then people love it. You mentioned earlier the Malibu song, and then you had a song tucked away. The song that
Mhm.
was tucked away actually did better. So I'm just
Yeah.
curious how often that happens for you currently. And then a second question to that is, have you ever tried to use that as a feedback loop when you're creating new things?
So I have right now I have like a core group of people that have really never led me wrong in like their opinions. But at the same time I'm not really gonna listen. If I'm sending it to you and I'm gonna drop it, I'm gonna drop it. It's it's gonna happen. But it's good to kind of get those notes, and there have been a few times where they've kind of pointed something out, and after me listening to it for the 27th time that day, I'm like, you know what? I think they're right. Um, and then reverting back to the times where people haven't liked it, my biggest song on Spotify, Wildin', it's got like 760K right now. That song, I was like, okay. I was like, whatever. Me and the producer, we were working like exclusively together at that time. We were both like, all right. And then it started growing on me. And then my videographer was like, this is the best song ever. Holy shit. I'm like, okay. And then I put it out. I'm like, okay. So yeah, that one threw me for a loop. And then both sides came up right after that. It's like I dropped it and I was like, it's just whatever, just get it out of here. And then it ended up on an editorial, got like 100K in the first month or so. I'm like, sick, dude. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Maybe I should make music I hate more often. Yeah.
So obviously the feedback loop isn't set in for what you want to produce going forward. Still, it's very much you're still whatever comes into your head that you think you creatively just pops in your head, whether you're at work or not, and you sort of run with that for a while.
Yeah, I
Is
mean, the
my
biggest part
understanding.
about this is if you're not liking it, why the fuck are you doing it? I get the money on the far end of the other side could be good, but I mean, if you're sitting here just doing it because you want to get rich, you're fucked. You're so fucked. Unless you're like a 10 or something, like bad bit, like just crazy shit going on, or you're some guy that knows some guy at a label and you're rich that can just flip a bag real quick on a hit, you know? You gotta love it, or you're gonna regret spending tens of thousands of dollars.
I gotta know, and I'm sorry for bringing it up. When in the process did your girlfriend find out about Swaz versus
That's
Ethan?
how we met, kind of like
Oh, no
that.
way. Let's
Yeah.
get into it.
So I had asked her initially. I was going out to Miami with my good friend Calvin, who's also a videographer, and we were planning on shooting a video. And I'm like, I'm gonna need a girl out there, and I got one in mind. So I DM'd her, and she was like, "Fuck yeah!" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" But I DM'd her like some other shit, like not starting the conversation, like, "Hey, let me get you in a video." I was like, I commented on her hair. She has pink hair most of the time, and I commented on that, and then brought it into the whole. I got this music video in Miami. Come on. And then the music video ended up getting canceled because my video guy had the reason he was going out there was to shoot a video for someone else, and he ended up going to jail. So that never happened. And then I still went with her because we had been talking from that point. I DM'd her nonstop. So we had a trip in Miami. Yeah.
Can we get into why he went to jail?
No, I'm not gonna put that business out there. Yeah.
Okay, just figured I'd ask. How long was the
Yeah.
trip in Miami with your girlfriend then?
A week.
What a start to the relationship.
Yeah, just bang it out right in Miami.
I
That's
mean, they do say just take a weekend trip as the first date. You know, if you like somebody, if you don't, you get a you get a trip out of it. So
Yeah. And I mean, she
my
saw
wife and I
Ollie.
got married off of that.
Yeah, there you go.
true.
Yeah, but
Corey
she's
Corey came to see me in New Orleans for the first week for our first real date. So we're going strong. Sorry to put the pressure on you, man.
True.
what do you
Yeah,
mean?
I'm not gonna. He was talking
Oh,
to me. He
him.
wasn't talking to you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, huh?
Yeah.
Was I invited to the
Ah,
wedding or something? What's
no. Trips are trips. I can't go that far yet. I don't know.
We'll see. But no, I mean I was kind of putting the pressure on Swaz in a sense. Like we got married off of a weekend
Oh,
trip
fair.
to start our relationship. So
yeah.
we can cut this part if you don't want that in the atmosphere.
Nah, dude. I don't care. No, I don't care. But yeah,
He's
no,
got time. He's got
during
time.
during that trip, she like remember that whole thing about new foods I was saying?
Yeah.
That'll geek me out. So we ended up going to a restaurant and she had some pasta that had something spicy in it, and I love spice. Like I'm gonna be on hot ones and I'm gonna kill that shit type of. I love spice, like ghost pepper salsa, literally right here type of spice. But this spice was like sausage throat kind of spice, and I kind of knew that. And she kept on asking me to try it. I said no about 4 times, and then the fifth time I'm like, all right, I'll take one bite. And that was after my burger came out overcooked, like burnt 3 times, pretty much. And the third time they got it right. So I was already kind of losing my shit. I tried that pasta. I freaked the fuck out. And she saw, like, this kid's fucked up. Like, what is this? Like, I had to step away from it and try to breathe. And yeah. So she saw my anxiety full force, like the first time. I was so embarrassed. But hey, here we are.
I mean, it worked. You got a first trip out of the way, first panic attack out of the way. You got
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
knocked out real early.
She saw the
Yeah.
full spectrum, and it started with a trip to go film a music video that didn't happen. So
Yeah, there you go. It
I
was
guess
just a
she saw the whole picture and was just like, "Yeah, I'm game.
yeah,
This seems
trip
fun."
full of shit. Fuck yeah. Yeah.
Was Was she in Memphis with you, or was she in Nashville?
No, she lived in Indiana. And then after we did long distance for a while, I'm like, nah, I can't do this. And then she ended up moving in with me in Memphis, and then now we live out here together.
Very cool. And you said you guys are 2 years in about?
Yeah,
That's awesome. Good for
as of
y'all.
like a week and a half ago.
Heck yeah. All right. So thanks for the look into the personal life. We can continue talking about the girlfriend if you want to, but also
No,
we're here for
no.
So, all right. Let's get back into your own journey. I love to talk about that. So, have you done any live performances at all yet?
Yeah, so I've been scheduled for three. I've only actually done one. So the first time I was scheduled was about to go on. She's in Memphis, shot up. Some other Obviously I had nothing to do with it. Maybe not obviously. I don't know what kind of vibes y'all are getting, but I didn't have anything to do with it. And then the second time I was scheduled, and then that car accident happened, so I couldn't do that one. And then the third time, the one I did do, was like a Thanksgiving thing at the Bluff in Memphis with DJ Epic, and we ended up that bar was packed, like sold out. Couldn't get more people in there, and I did that show, and that was just kind of like I told him when I couldn't make it the first time after the wreck, I was like, hey man, I can't do it, sorry, but I got a couple other people. He's like, I don't want a performer unless it's you. Let me know when you're ready. I'm like, hell yeah. So
Any plans
Well,
to get back on that horse again?
uh yeah, but it'll be when I'm ready and when I know um I guess when I know that I could do it the way that I want to do it.
And
you,
what does that exactly mean to you, if you don't mind me asking? Like what are tells or what are feelings that you might have?
So I got to get to a point where I'm not tripping about like my financial situation, I think, honestly. And then on top of that, my audience right now is like I can't do um a full venue solo. And that bar that I did in Memphis, that's gonna be it. I already know I got a rude awakening headed my way if I go do a show right now compared to then. Because that was insane. I couldn't have done that alone. There was other performers, and it was the Bluff, which was the spot to be at. So it just all made sense for that place to be backed. So that was a great first experience. I got it in my books, and right now that's not really my focus. I feel like a show is, if I was doing that, I might as well go sing on Broadway. And we know the people that have been singing on Broadway for 30 years. So
yep. I'm curious how the social anxiety was, or not social anxiety, but anxiety was before that first show. Did you have any of those nerves? Like, what did that feel like before
yeah,
going on stage?
so I was actually completely fine. I was amped up. I was super excited. And then there's another artist named White Sosa who's actually a good friend now, and this isn't his fault at all. Number one, they didn't know. Two, they could do whatever the hell they want to. But they ended up hotboxing the back room. And me and Weed have not been friendly for some years now. He used to love it, but we're not friendly anymore. And so that started hitting me, and I'm like, holy shit. But then I got out on the stage, and then everything was great until my mic wasn't working. And then in the middle of my set, like, they're trying to hand me these different mics, and I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? They're like, it's not loud enough. It's not loud enough. Take it as well. I'm like, okay. And that kind of made me, but by the end of it, I saw my friends' familiar faces just vibing with me, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, here we go. So I got back into the groove of everything. And then the guy who I just mentioned, White Sosa, I ended up asking him, like, how do you think I did? He's like, yeah, you fucking killed it. And I was like, yeah, that's my first. He's like, that was your first show? And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's what I wanted to eat.
That's the perfect response. If somebody doesn't believe that it was the first time, you know you nailed it.
Yeah, exactly.
You seem very patient, especially for someone that's 22. Um, have you always been this way, or did you grow into realizing that you need to be patient and realizing when your time will come, it'll come?
It's probably just like I'm very calm, but I'm not calm at all. I'm always like you want to go, motherfucker? We can geek out right now. But until that point comes, I'm pretty calm just because I've spent a lot of time by myself, and that's where I love being. Honestly, is by myself, which sucks for anyone around me that cares for me, like my girlfriend who's about sick of my shit. But if I don't get my me time, I'm not going to be me, and that's very simple. I'll start losing my way pretty quickly. And that's pretty much because I grew up, being by myself. Dad gone, mom gone. Just I was a professional esports gamer and sat at fucking this way for many years, just by myself, and that probably helped me be patient too. But yeah, just probably trauma and experience and picking up on years earlier in life.
The
I
introverted
know there's an
extrovert.
opportunity to get really serious here, but he did say professional esports gamer, and
Yeah, no, I was gonna go the same route, so do it.
that's kind of it. I just want to hear about professional esports.
Yeah, man. So, there was a 4-year stretch, so I was in middle school. I didn't really have a path for anything, and I got out of boarding school and just kind of dove right into homebody home life, and I did nothing but play video games. Somewhere along that way, I found Call of Duty, and I was on scrim teams. I had like 12K earned, like as a 13-year-old, 12-year-old kid doing these search and destroy wagers. And I took that. Obviously, I couldn't go pro then. Back then, they still had the cap on the CWL, which is the Call of Duty World League. You got to be 18 to enter. So I could never like actually go there. So then I switched and I got on Overwatch, and I was playing Overwatch very early before the whole Overwatch League was started. You guys probably have no fucking idea what I'm talking about.
I've
But
heard of these games.
okay, yeah. So I was on scrim teams for them, and then our little kind of pro league, which is what it was. Kind of, it was like just privately hosted tournaments. Doing that, I won like 10 grand there. Moved to H1Z1, so now we're in H1Z1, and that was like my best game. That game I was playing, your Ninja and Tifu and everything. Yeah, we were in lobbies, and they were getting cracked up by probably then I think it was 14 or 15. So they were getting smoked, and now they're not. Sad, but I don't got the time for that shit anymore. That was crazy.
Were you streaming at the same time, or was it just the money from the scrim team
I was I
wager
was streaming.
matches?
I was
Okay.
streaming. I wasn't big. I like 20 viewers, but back then on Twitch, that was okay. And I was kind of in the whole Nick Merckx community and everything, which it still is a very great community. And Nick's a great guy. He's always been a great guy. We've had a few conversations, nothing but support. Um, but I was dancing around then and had a lot of their group in there as well.
And did you just go cold turkey on video games? Do you mess around with any of it anymore?
Yeah, I still play some, but the annoying part for me is when I was playing at my age, I was always the best. Like I was because I could put in more time than anybody. Like these people got to be grown men. They got to do something else. I didn't. And being that young, you got a reaction time that's insane. So with the amount of time that I could focus, not going to school and everything, uh, I was great. And now looking back, it's like I can never be that good again because I would have to sit at my desk for 2 years nonstop and play that one video game until I break something. And that's just how it is. Like the Fortnite kids nowadays, yeah, good luck. I was great at Fortnite when it came out. Not anymore. Not anymore.
And I'm assuming this is probably going to get me shunned in any video game community. I assume you played on a desktop. You had a computer.
So not COD. COD I
Okay.
played on controller. It was Xbox. And then I think it was after Advanced Warfare, they switched the Pro Scene to PlayStation. So I had to bounce around on that. And then whenever Overwatch came to fruition. H1 was PC only, so I played that on desktop and Overwatch on desktop.
There we go. Yeah, because I've always been told from my friends who game, they said the real gamers play on PC. But I don't know what that even means. I don't know if they're just talking trash or if that's actually legitimate.
Yeah, so I mean, if you were to get in a rank game, let's use Valorant as an example. If you were to get in a Valorant game on console, and then you go in the same rank and get in a Valorant game on PC, it's going to be like 30 times harder for sure. Yeah. But that's also just because the mechanics on a keyboard are very different than, just this. You can, it's very different. So,
When you stepped away, you said just like timing and stuff like that, but you were earning some money. Was was money more of a motivation at the time to step away as well?
no, so the gaming just I kind of just grew out of it, honestly. I wanted a life, I met women and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. And they didn't like that. They weren't too fond of that. So I was like, hold on, let me calibrate. And then I just kind of stopped, and probably my biggest regret, honestly, because as soon as I stopped, that's when Fortnite came around and did its
Hmm.
thing the way it did. And if I still had the years on me that I did and I was playing, we would not be having a conversation about music right now.
That was gonna be my next question, so you answered it. I was gonna ask if you regret kind of stopping. So
Yeah. I'd be rich. I'd be so rich. It'd be insane. Oh my God, I'd be rich. I'd be so rich. I don't know if you've seen what some of these fuck guys are doing, but buddy, I'd be so fucking rich.
all the one I know is Ninja. So, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
and I
petty.
mean, to if it means anything, I killed him a couple times. I killed him a couple times. So
Not a
could
lot
have
of
been
people
me.
could say it.
Could have been me. So
If
yeah.
you want to know I guess my current awe in all of this is I think my friends are good at video games.
Yeah.
I am the single worst gamer probably on the planet.
Hmm.
So I know I'm sure like Banko who played some Call of Duty has some perspective of how good actually is. Like to
Hmm.
me he is good and I know he would say he's probably absolutely dog awful, just completely atrocious. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just
that's about right. I was good in the friend group of high school normal kids that played video games COD on Xbox. I had a friend that said, "Hey, let's play some wager games and try to make some money." You get in those search and destroy lobbies 2 on 2, you really see how good people are.
Yeah, it's really not the same. I could never go back and do it. I
I'm
just
sure it's
couldn't.
like seeing a 96-mile-an-hour fastball for the first time, and you're like, oh, people are different.
Yeah, it's like derby racing and then F1. It's like there's some different shit going. Those motherfuckers are on something. It's like the amount of Mountain Dew I had in my body.
That's a better comparison than just seeing a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. It would be like going from Little League to facing an MLB pitcher at
That's
12.
so funny.
So, like,
Yeah, it's like
I
it's
love
like
that.
street racing and some other shit. NASCAR. I feel like cars is the best thing. It's so similar.
Hmm.
yeah.
Dude, this is I'm infatuated with everything. I feel like I'm in Shrek. We just keep peeling back the layers. Ogres are
Yeah,
like onions, man.
yeah, I got some stuff.
Yeah, okay. So, maybe I'm gonna bring this back to surface level. Probably a more basic question. You obviously have the Stevenson Ranch hat on. Who are
Yep.
artists that you're really on right now, or artists that you're following that you enjoy listening to?
Uh, that's that question is a lot harder than you think it is
Okay.
because I literally listen to my own stuff nonstop.
That's all
Not
right.
like
So I wanted to ask that one too. If you like if you can handle listening to yourself, but I'm sure it's a confidence thing. Like if you think you're putting out good stuff, you want to hear it.
But yeah, I don't listen to the songs I have out. I'll listen to stuff I'm working on
Mm.
or stuff I got finished that I'm about to put out while it's still mine. But beside that, yeah, okay. I listen to Mike, Post, Old Young Thug. Fucking love Young Thug. Right now, I'm big on a song called I don't know how to say it. It's some expensive shit, but it's by Tusi. It's called Shop Elysee. I think I got that right. But that shit's hard. And then some Don Toliver sauced up in there. And then obviously Ollie.
Nice.
So yeah, if I'm throwing something on it, it's gonna be by one of them.
When you are
Okay.
listening to the stuff that you are playing or planning to put out, you mentioned it kind of when you had your feedback group that they'll say something and you've already listened to it 27, 28 times. Do you ever take a break? I'm just thinking from like like I write articles and stuff like that for the work I do, and you kind of get used to just reading something over and over again that you might miss something. I feel like that's the same with if you're listening to your music over and over again. Do you take a break like, hey, all right, I got to take a break, like 2, 3 days off, a week off, and then go back to it and listen to it to get a fresh perspective?
Yeah, I think that's probably what separates my quality from most people, I guess, would be the way to word that. Is that I don't sit down, have a session, write the song, and be done. Never have I really ever done that. I'll make it, and then I'll bump it in the car, won't listen to it for a minute, come back to it, listen again, fresh ears. Oh, this needs to be mixed differently, and then I'll go in and do that. And while I have that open, I'll touch it up. And that's a lengthy process. I've had songs where I've had like 19 versions, just to kind of get everything out until I can listen to it that next time. Be like, this is fucking perfect.
What is the typical timeline for when you first initially that creative spark happens? You're sitting in the back of your bar on the like trash can recording on your phone to writing it, tailoring it, getting the beat, recording it, editing it, and then actually releasing it. Like, what does that timeline look like?
So majority of the time, the way that it works is I'll have some beats pulled up, I'll play them, but I play them directly in my recording software. So while I'm listening to it, I always think the first thing that you catch is probably the best. So I make sure I capture that moment. And then if I can, I'll knock the song out then because it's really hard to recreate the energy you had in the moment of that spark. And then to go back and try to recreate it, it's not as authentic. So I punch in everything. I don't, pen to paper. I punch it all in. And that process, depending on the song, it's like, okay, I could be done in 2 days full wrapped, or I could be done in a couple hours, but I'm gonna go back to it. But I'd say on average, a song will be fully done probably 3 to 4 days if I'm locked in on it. Like it'll be mastered.
What has been the longest time for you to get all the way to the finish line on a song?
It's probably that Malibu one because we had to go through so many revisions, and I'm not the one who mastered that because I had this mini fridge right here. My room wasn't sound treated, and it was making a little too much noise. It's not doing it anymore. But there was that sound through my whole recording take, and he couldn't get like exactly what I wanted, and it was pissing me off. And then that song probably took like 2 months for no reason. Yeah.
This the timeline stuff is so intriguing to me. And this is probably a very different timeline-esque question, but again, a world that neither of us live in, me and Banko. Is there a desire to be with a label or have representation, or is this something that like independence the way to do it?
Well, for a really, really long time, it was like only label was the way. And then you had these social media platforms kind of take over to where the algorithm could put you on and you could build your own fan base and put yourself out there. But I struggle with uh the desire to make that content versus making my music. But nowadays labels don't do shit, and the deals they do are insane, like absolutely ridiculous, unless you already have a following. So honestly, there is no way right now except independent. There's just no way. And I wouldn't recommend label to anyone unless it was like the best deal of all time. But you're gonna go into that, you're gonna get $1 million. It'll all sound great, and then by the time your contract's over, you spent the million on the music and the chain, and then you're done. It's like now you're poor, and they're getting 3 million off of you before you see another million. Oh, your song only made 2.5 million. Looks like you're done. Like, why would you do that to yourself? So independent's just the way to go, and that'll keep it the most authentic as well.
I'm curious why you haven't gone the TikTok or social media route. Like, why have you avoided that?
So I'm not intentionally avoiding all social media. I just happen to not have the desire to go dance around on the internet. It's just like what? I don't know. Some about it's just kind of but I'll catch a vibe sometimes. Like I'm about to go make a hard ass video to this. Fuck it. And then TikTok, I've just kind of been paying attention. Here's a trivia for you. Name one artist that blew up on TikTok that is still heavily relevant right now. Go.
I don't have TikTok, so I'm probably not going to be good at this. But wasn't was Olivia Rodrigo? I know very different style. Was she TikTok or the Tate
She's from
McRae?
Disney. She's from
She
Disney.
she's Disney. Okay.
Olivia Rodrigo came off of Disney and got a heavy label push. That's not TikTok. Sure, TikTok
Okay.
probably caught a little trend with it, but that was the label paid for, 100%, and definitely not authentic. That was some Disney shit and label afterwards. Tate McRae, she had a fucking diamond song before she even touched TikTok.
Mm.
What brought
Yeah.
Mike back? Because like Mike was big and then there was a dead period for him and then he made a huge comeback.
That was just he kept the same fan base and he grew it literally from the ground. Like it wasn't TikTok didn't do it, you know? He just
Yeah.
he just kind of kept going and going and going, and then people kept listening, and then he hit this wave with the lows where he had like 4 hits in the album, and with no label, the songs did great, and he started up his own platform and everything that got him the money and his team, and it just kind of he built his own label. So that's how that worked for him is he built his own,
Hmm.
which is the goal.
I don't have any other guesses for TikTok. I can't
Yeah,
think of
I,
one.
I've
So it's
never
a
been
fair
on
point. So
TikTok.
it's a fair question. It's a fair
Well, I
question.
mean,
You're
we,
right.
we can name hits all day that came off of just number one, right? Old Town Road, Lil Nas X. Where the fuck is that guy? You got Yeet. What happened to him? Yeet went bye bye. Where the fuck is Yeet? And you got 24K Golden with Mood and Ian Dior. When's the last time you heard Ian Dior? Where are they? They're gone. There's like some of the biggest songs that were on TikTok, and they're just gone. It's just like, oh, here I am. Now you're gone. You get overplayed, and you get thrown to the fucking wall. No, you're done. People seen too much of you. You overplayed yourself. The label was too big. You did too much of a push. No one ever learned you. They just knew your hook in that one song, that 15-second clip. It had nothing to do with your personality.
Hmm.
What is your view on, and the person that's popping to mind is Morgan Wallen. Before they release a song, they release like a 30-second hook. Um, the one I'm thinking of, I Had Some Help. He basically released like the very last 30 seconds of the song, and then it turns out the song wasn't very similar to what that hook sounded like.
Yeah.
What's your view on that?
Well, I mean, that's just how that works sometimes. Like they'll have demo cuts they put on TikTok. They probably did it too maturely, and then it comes out. And it's like, dude, what y'all heard was the demo. I get you might like the other version because even with artists, it's like we'll hear something. I just had this issue yesterday where I was working on a house song that I did a year ago, just as a little rough idea, and the producer wanted me to come in and finish it, and I tried to retrack the vocals. I sound a year older. It doesn't sound the same. It just doesn't feel the same. Why do we like the original version more, but I still am way better than I was? It doesn't make sense. but it's just you heard something, you like the way it was, it changed. It's hard to catch that vibe again.
How much in your music, speaking of that, then, do you use auto tune at all? Is there any fixtures to your voice in the recording itself? Anything like that?
Yeah, I use autotune. I use autotune not only as like some pitch correction, but as an instrument, which most artists nowadays do. You you like Morgan Wallen, for example. All of his songs have autotune, but it's not because he sucks. It gives a ring to today's music that now it's like you can't hear a song without it now and it bring the same kind of vibe. We're so used to it, and it has such a good ring. It was made for a reason. T-Pain didn't need it, but a baby girl, what's your name? Like everyone's fucking sitting there, but the ring on that song is great. It's you it's just yeah. So I use it in a way where it brings out the brightness in my vocals, and at the same time, if I'm a little flat, it could save me. And some notes honestly sound better flat with autotune than they would if you just did it straight up.
We are big T-Pain people over here, so we will never ever hate on auto-tune.
Yeah.
We are big members of his fan club. There's no question about
Yeah.
that.
That
So
trend on fucking social media is really triggering too. It hadn't happened to me, but people would be like, "Oh, he's got auto tune on it." It's like the best song anyone's ever heard, sung perfectly. It's like, "Oh, there's auto tune on there." Buddy, auto tune doesn't save lives out here. Auto tune it can do it only does so much. If you sound like shit, it's gonna put you in a key that's wrong. You're not gonna go up 5 keys. You're gonna go to the closest one. So if you're completely fucking off, you're gonna be off, and that's just how that works.
where I was going to go off of that is you mentioned your use of auto tune or maybe other fixtures. What are you working on? Or like where do you think you can improve as an artist
Oh,
or is it just a matter of like just getting reps?
yeah. So I'm probably crossing my 10,000 hour mark like right now, but I'm working on. I have this thing where I've always done my songs verse hook, and I just because of the music that I listen to. But then I'll go and I say that, and then I'll go listen to like a song that I think is really good. For example, Arizona Zervis, he'll have songs that start off with like the best hook in the world, and then it goes into a verse and the hook comes back, but the hook's more toned down. I have a thing where I can't seem to get past the opening up too big. I feel like every time I go to start off with a hook or start off with like a bigger and brighter melody or something, I end up feeling like I'm coming in too harsh, like too strong. And I need to find that balance of like I can come in on A B pretty big and then break it down and bring it back.
Did you think he was going to ask you to reveal songs that you're working on currently and just start
No, no,
bringing
no,
those
no.
out? I
Just
saw the face.
yeah, no. When he said what are you working on? I was like, where what? What do you mean? What am I just didn't know where that was headed, so I was kind of confused. But yeah, no. I'll fucking pull up music right now. I don't care.
How many songs do you have in the chamber at the moment?
Um I can't even answer that. Honestly, I've like 3 folders of like non-stop demos, and they're like long folder, like A to H, I to P, Q to Z on my computer. It's really long, but the amount of finished, yeah, I can't answer that question. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I'm assuming you don't have an answer to this question either, but I'm going to ask it anyways. How many songs did you finish that you actually didn't release because you're like, it just didn't come out the way I wanted it to?
That's probably about 3. Like fully fleshed out. It's probably about the one in particular that comes to mind because my girlfriend loved it. And then like one of her followers, she played it in a TikTok of hers, and then one of her followers on TikTok bought the WAV file off of me just to listen to it. And I was like, huh. But I can't bring myself to release this song. I can't, especially now. It's been 2 years, 3 years maybe since I made it, and the mix was just terrible. Like if you were listening to it in the car, and then something else came on, you'd be like, "Holy shit, that last song was ass!" Oh my god, it's just too bright, and I didn't know what I was doing, how to record properly. The vocals they were just so fucked up.
I mean, someone bought it though, bought the WAV file, so maybe you
Yeah,
had something there.
I don't know. Well, I mean, he was hearing it through like 9 different things. So I don't know now that he's got the WAV file if he's happy with his purchase. I'm not going to follow up, but we're going to assume he's doing great, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So now as we wind down, we usually get into kind of some extracurricular type conversation. You talked about the video games already. We heard about your social life. We know you're grinding all the time, right? You're pretty much working to keep on the lights so you can keep doing music and ultimately pursue what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
What is your ultimate like relaxation look like, or how are you just like taking your mind off of things right now? Like, do you go for walks, you go for runs? Like, we found out this from Ollie, like he just became like a really big runner, and
Yeah,
like that.
buddy's out here running fucking flash marathon. Yeah, I wish I was like that, dude. That guy's insane. You got to have something really like I got something wrong with me, but to enjoy going, I need to tell him like, oh, dude, ran 10 miles, best fucking time of my life. Have you lost your fucking mind? I can't even walk up some stairs, right? And you're talking about running 10 miles. No, honestly, I just this this room, anything I do in this room is like it's my downtime, whether it's recording or just playing some other stupid game or talking to people. It's just anything outside of working and talking about things in general. Just talking, like, just keep me in here. I don't care what's going on up there. It's just everything goes quiet in here.
And
How does
I gotta ask I'm sorry. Off of that, now I have to ask the more sophisticated question,
Mm-hmm.
which is, do you think it is the actual physical location of that room, or just what you've been able to create within it? Like, do you think you could have this room, let's say, whatever, 4 years from now, you're in Phoenix, Arizona? Could you have that same setup? Could you have that same room?
Yeah. It's not about like, oh, this exact room and this apartment's the best fucking room. No, it's not that. It's the amount of time I've spent in a room like this since I was little, whether it
Hmm.
be video games and doing just having a fucking blast, killing shit, making money, or making music, or just fucking sitting here talking. I've always just been here, and I've always escaped. Like whenever shit was going wrong in my house or whatever, I'd just go hide away in my little room by myself with my computer, and here I am today. Not there ain't shit going wrong in my house no more, but it's still my place of comfort.
darkness and a TV screen? That's all you need.
Yeah, well, during the day we can let back the curtains a little bit. We can let some light in here.
I
Just not
mean,
too
well,
much. I might get sunburnt through the window. Can't have that many UVs. We're ginger,
exactly.
but yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you can't see as well if the light's coming in though for the video games. You got to have the darkness.
yeah, well, even that I seem to record like I gotta sink into like a whole environment. Like, oh, this song's blue, motherfucker. We're putting on blue in this room, so it creates a vibe. And here I'm just truly alone. And that's like it took me a while to get used to the whole girl and me literally singing two doors down and all that, but I'm used to it now. Now it's just my space. I don't know. It's like a home away from home, but it's home.
Yeah, I appreciate you walking us through that. Like I said, it just when you talked about the room, I knew I needed to take this to the next level.
Yeah, it's not on no psycho shit. It's just fucking I don't know. Just like being by myself, and this is really the only place that I'm truly by myself.
For sure. Banko, what's the fun question coming from you?
Well, I have two. We never really asked this, and we probably should have at the beginning. Where'd the name come from?
So I was training to race funny cars, and I also at the same time purchased a Mustang GT 2015 GT in 2016 while I was 15. And I was doing all this racing shit and everything was coming. And then I had turtle wax hit me after I posted a picture of my car. I had waxed it. And after that, I tagged turtle wax and I posted Suave, like Suave the soap. And a month down the line or so, my buddy decided it was his turn to post his truck after a car wash with the word suave. And I'm like, oh no. We're not yopping what I came up with. So then I took off the V and I put a Z. It still had the E. I made music, and then the guy I was making music with, we were trying to come up with my artist name if I was gonna release something. And he was like, what is that people have been calling you? What do you post on your story all the time? That weird shit. I'm like, Swaz? He's like, yeah. And then he put it on his computer and he was typing, like making like images with it, trying to figure out how it would look good. He's like, just take off the E. And then now here we are.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Really
We
weird. So
definitely should have asked
basically,
that earlier.
Suave is gonna sue me eventually, probably. But that's only if this story gets out.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. Also, I've had it's a little rough because people have twice correlated that name. It's very the first four letters of something else. If you if
Yeah.
you twist it and replace the Z with an S and forget how English works, it can kind of work with something. And I've gotten some, but I swear it's not that. It will never be that. Fuck no.
Good clarification. That was very good clarification.
Yeah. If you know what I'm talking about, fuck you. If you don't, hey.
But yeah, no, I do have a fun question, Adam. Have you ever gone out on Broadway or in Nashville to a
No.
karaoke bar
Look
and
at
sung
us.
any of your songs?
No, I will never sing any of my songs unless it's that's just strange, dude. I'm not gonna hey, play my I've had DJ Boom. He's also Ollie's close friend. That's how I met him. He's his tour DJ and everything. He'll see me in the bar and like play the record I got with Ollie, and I'll like nudge my manager, but hey, this is me. I'm taking over the bar, and it was like, this ain't you. This ain't you. I'm like, yeah, it's me. No, you sound good. I'm like, yeah, yeah, but I'm not gonna bust out like dance moves like, this is my shit, right? Like, no, I'm not gonna fucking.
Have you been recognized in public?
Yeah, three times, and that's where it ends. Three times, and I'm straight off that. Never again. Great. No, yeah, and well, it's actually four, but that time I was in a restaurant in Memphis, and this like high school kid, I still feel shitty about this to this day. He said I had like 10K. No, I had 20 or 30K monthly at this time. He was like, Swaz. And I heard it, but I didn't hear it. Like I thought that I heard it, but it's not like I turned my head because I knew he said my name. And I completely fucking stiffed this kid. And then we get to the table and I'm like, I'm hearing shit. I thought this fucking kid over there said Swaz. And she was like, oh my God, he did. I thought he did too, but I didn't want to like, no one's like just ever screamed that. And I'm like, fuck. So like, yeah, whoever that guy is, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that, but I was so small, I didn't even think I'd get recognized at that point. So
Shout out that kid.
yeah, yeah.
Hope
Shout
he's
out
doing
that
great
kid.
things.
Yeah, whoever, wherever, whatever you look like. I don't know what kind of burger you had. I hope it was good, but my bad, dude.
Anything else that you got up your sleeves that you want to let the people know, or you feeling okay about this conversation?
No, I think I'm all right. I just I got more music coming. I think I have one dropping in 2 weeks from today. Actually, I'm not entirely sure. My distributor's kind of weird, but it should be out in 2 weeks from today. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, before we all go our separate ways, Swaz, I definitely want you to let people know how they can follow you, check out your music, all the above.
Yeah, it's Suaz, Suaz, on all streaming platforms, or Suaz Music on Instagram. And that's right. Well, all streaming platforms except SoundCloud after this podcast. Um, and that'll be that.
Perfect, man. Well, we really appreciate you hanging out with us. This was awesome. I'm excited to add some of your tunes to the playlist, check it out, spread the word, and welcome to the family. This was great.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you all for having me.
Of course.
All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for listening. Listen to my outro after this is done, and we'll see you next time. Hi, everyone. Grant here. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you could like, share, and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you think you or someone you know has a good life story to tell, we are always open to guest suggestions. You can send those suggestions to our email, tworkpod@gmail.com. Thanks again for the support.